Welcome to the Wealth Embodied podcast. I'm your host, Brianna Faringer, an attorney, spiritual guide, and wealth activator. I'm here to help you align your mindset for abundance and break through any glass ceilings with money. If you're ready to embrace your highest calling, manifest with more ease, and create a life that feels lighter and more aligned, then let's dive in. Hello, welcome to the Wealth Embodied podcast. I am your host, Brianna. Thank you for listening today. I hope that you're having a great day so far. So the topic of this episode today is something that has been coming up for me a lot. And it's not just coming up for me a lot lately, it's something that has been coming up for me, I would say, for probably the last year and a half, and is something that continues to come up in my life regularly, and that I just have to keep working so hard at trying to change the mindset and the pattern around. And I suspect this is something that affects a lot of people. Well, I know it affects a lot of people, but it's probably affecting a lot of people that are listening to this. And the topic today is doing too much. And there's a lot of different ways I could go on this topic, but I want to try to keep it as simple as I can, because I just know that this is something that so many people deal with, and I know it's something that entrepreneurs deal with, which is just doing, and constantly keeping busy. And the thing that I learned is that the doing and the constantly keeping myself busy is what led me to burnout. And I actually think that I had burned out more times in my life than I realized. I consider the kind of big burnout moment a couple of years ago when I just really started to realize that continuing to practice full-time as a lawyer was no longer aligned for me. I mean, at that time, I actually thought that maybe practicing as a lawyer in general wasn't aligned. I know now that that is not true, because I have had to go through the process of trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And for me, right now, I am in a place where I work part-time at the law firm, and then I have my own other business. And in that connection, I have mightily struggled to keep overriding this belief that I have that I need to constantly be busy and I need to be doing things. The reason I stopped working full time is I don't want to work that much. I want to work less. I want to work smarter. I want to work in ways that are more aligned with the things that I want to bring into my life, not just money, but calm, peace, happiness, joy, the ability to do things that I want to do and not constantly keeping myself busy just doing things because I'm telling myself that if I'm busy doing work that it's productive, which is not the truth. And I don't know, this is just, I'm bringing this up because for me, this is a mindset that I have been going through. Well, I've been going through it my whole entire life, but I struggle with it every single day. And I want to share that with people because I think people have a belief that if they work on something hard enough, it will be healed, or like it will go away and they don't have to focus on it anymore. I do believe that's true with some things. I'm not sure I believe anything is ever fully healed. I do believe that there are certain things in our life that are easier to move through than others, and that often become a non-issue for us as we continue to move through life. I have plenty of events or experiences in my life that brought me what I thought was an enormous amount of pain and suffering. And in all honesty, it wasn't the event itself, it was the way I was perceiving it. And once I shifted my beliefs around some of those things, they honestly don't even affect me at all anymore. And so I do think there's some things that you can move through very easily and just it kind of goes away. And maybe if it pops up here and there, you deal with it as it arises in the present. But this one for me, it's like every single day. And I just want to share it with people because I want to be honest about the struggles that I have as well. I know all of the mindsets and the practices and the tools and the things to do to shift myself out of a place that's not helpful for me. This is the one that is definitely the hardest for me. Shifting out of beliefs around money, those things are easier for me. Shifting out of this belief that I need to constantly be doing things is hard. And it's because I was doing things nonstop for, 40 plus years of my life. And it started at a young age. I really started working when I was like 11. I started babysitting. And then I got my first job at 15. I worked nonstop from that point on. I had multiple jobs. In college, I always had multiple jobs. I always worked 30 plus hours and went to school full time. I was constantly busy. And when that becomes the norm for you, it starts to feel like that's what you have to do. And because I decided for myself that I don't want that anymore, and I'm still training my mind and my body to get on board with it. It's so subconscious, this feeling of like doing, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And I really hate it because it's a mindset that I have worked so hard to try to overcome. And this is what I just keep doing every single day. I keep planning my life in a way that feels aligned for me. I keep scheduling myself in ways that feel aligned for me with the kind of life that I want. And every time this mindset keeps coming up, I just keep reminding myself that that story that I have to be busy all the time is not true. And I want to kind of dig into this a little bit more. So, when I was working full time as a lawyer, I was working Monday to Friday, sometimes 7 to 6. I would work on weekends. That definitely changed over the years. I was starting to work a little bit less as I became, just better at my skills as a lawyer, not needing to do as much behind the scenes to kind of figure out what I was doing. But I was just so used to being busy all the time. And the pay structure that I had and that I still have is one where the more I work, the more I make. And so it's a very beneficial structure in that, like, I don't have a salary. So I don't have a salary that's set on a certain amount of hours. The more I work, the more money I bill, the more money I make. So there's a lot of great things about that pay structure. One of the things that is not great about it is it reinforces the mindset that the more you do, the more money you make. The harder you work, the more money you make. The more you work, the more money you make. And so because I only work 2 days a week, when I have what I would consider free time during the hours that I used to work nonstop. So today I'm filming this podcast on a Tuesday. I know you don't know that, but these come out on Thursdays. Today's a Tuesday. I'm not at the law firm today. I work in my other business today, my spiritual business, my money mindset business, where I'm helping people to change their relationship with money. And I am a lot more, I don't want to use the word lax, but I only work about, I don't know, maybe 10 to 3 or 4 on those days. I schedule it in a way so that it's not so busy. It's not back to back. I went and worked out at lunch today, which I don't do a lot. But I will tell you, when I do those things, it's so contrary to the way that I used to be and the constant doing that I was in. I will start to have these thoughts of like kind of punishing myself. Like, Brianna, you could have been working during that time, or you could have, like, here's the thing. If I want to do more work at the law firm, I can just make more money. And so, excuse me, that's a hard thing to kind of get yourself to overcome. Because the reality, an actual fact in my life, is that in that particular business, the more I work, the more I make. As an overall belief system, I do not want to be in that mindset. I never want to be in the mindset of the more I work, the more I make, the harder I work, the more I make, because I don't believe that. My belief is that people can make money, and they can make more money when they are more in tune with what's aligned for them and with the energy that they want to be in and with the kind of life that they want to live. My belief is that when you get aligned to those things, you are going to make all of the money you want and more. But I happen to be in a scenario where the more I work, the more I make. That's a tough thing because I have to constantly remind myself I don't want to do that anymore. So if I have this urge on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, those are 2 days I'm not at the law firm. If I have an urge on those days to kind of like, oh, what if I need to be doing more? I need to be doing more. I could go on and work a couple hours and make money. I have to stop myself from doing that. and it's hard. So what this leads me to is I have boundaries for myself. I have to have boundaries for myself of what I am and am not willing to do, the hours I am and am not willing to work, the energy I am and am not willing to put forth for certain things. And I really do schedule my days and I schedule my life around trying to have less busyness and more free time and more space to do things that I find enjoyable, even if it means I'm not necessarily making as much money. And this is something I know that entrepreneurs struggle with. When you're an entrepreneur, you have your own business, there's always something you could be doing more. There's always more that could be done. Always, always, always. And having boundaries for yourself of when you are and are not going to be available for certain things is so important, because even if you're doing a business that you love, you can easily burn out. You can burn out doing anything. And I know people, love this saying, oh, when you're doing something you love, it's not work. Well, I only kind of believe that because while I do believe if you are aligned with the kind of work you're doing to make money, it doesn't feel that hard or it doesn't feel like work. Even if you keep doing that constantly and you don't have boundaries for yourself about what you and are, excuse me, and are not willing to do, you are going to burn out in that thing. It's inevitable. It's not if, it's a when. And I know because I've had it happen multiple times and I've seen other people go through it. So I just kind of want to offer some things that I do for myself. Of course, if I'm working with people one-on-one and this is something they are experiencing, I can help them find ways that are aligned for them to shift it. But I just kind of want to talk through some of the things that I do and that I know work and that I know will work for anyone if they put them in practice. So I don't know if I've said this on here before, but I actually have 3 businesses. One of them does not require a significant amount of work. It's a real estate investment. I own that with my best friend. That's something that does not take a lot of time. It's not the kind of thing that the more you work, the more you get out of it. It's just kind of doing its thing. There are busy times when we have to be very involved in it. For the most part, we don't have to be. So I'm going to set that one aside. I'm an owner of a law firm with other people, and I own my own business as a wealth activator and a money mindset guide. So I have these competing businesses that I'm dealing with. When you're a business owner, there's always more that could be done. Always, always, always. And I hate when I hear people telling me that they work every day in their business or that they'll work in their business at any hour of the day. I think that is one of the worst things an entrepreneur can do to him or herself, because there's just no line between when you are working and when you're not. And I think having boundaries for yourself is so important so that you don't burn out. You'll work yourself too hard, even if you're doing something that you love. And I had this come up with a client very recently, somebody who has been very successful in life, who has had several different careers, who left a very good high paying job 6 or 7 years to go to start a coaching practice, has been very successful at that, has gotten to the place where he's making the money he wants, he's got the clients that he wants, and he's not happy. And he knows that it's not sustainable because he's going to burn out if he continues to work that way. And this is what happens to people. That kind of, that could lead me to another topic about, changing your business. That's more aligned with what you want in life, but I'm not going to go there. I just think when you're an entrepreneur, you have to have boundaries for yourself so that you do not get burnt out and that you have decided for yourself, this is what I'm available for, this is what I'm not available for. And so I'm going to give you some examples. I have decided for myself, I am not available to do work on the weekends. That's actually not part of my struggle. For whatever reason, on the weekends, my brain shuts off and I am willing to just allow myself the space and the time I need to do whatever I want. If I feel like there's something I had to get done, like in my business that I didn't get done during the week, I will do it. I will tell you that's a very rare occurrence. But my rule is I don't work weekends, period. I don't want to work the weekends. I want to do other things on the weekends. I want to be free to do the things that I want, the things that I enjoy. And there's plenty of other working hours that I could be doing things that are productive and making me money. So my rule is I only am available to do things Monday through Friday. I only work at the law firm 2 days a week. I will occasionally go in if I have additional work that I can't get done. That also doesn't happen very often. But I have very specific hours I work. I'm there Monday and Thursday. I work very specific hours. I don't check email when I'm not there. I'm not doing extra work when I'm not there. I shut it off. And that's a boundary for me that I absolutely have to have, or I would not be able to have any sort of peace in my life. On the other days, I am very scheduled. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I am doing work in my spiritual business. I take clients on Wednesdays. I am very specific about when I do and don't take clients. And the reason is because I have to be in a certain energy to do one-on-one work with people. And if I'm allowing people to book that every day of the week, it really puts me in a situation where I kind of feel like I have to be on all the time. And I have to be so aware of how I'm spending my energy and the times that I'm not with clients. And so for me, I've decided, look, it's a lot easier if I just take clients 1 day a week. And I know that that's a day where I'm going to be with them, and I know I can be in the energy of that. So I'm not going to participate in other activities that take me out of the kind of energy that I need to be in to be available to hold space in one-on-one sessions for people. That's just something I've learned for myself. That's a boundary. I am willing to open up space for other people if they absolutely can't make those times work. That's a rare situation also. But I'm very structured in what I am and I'm not willing to do. So I schedule everything so that I do not overdo it. That's one like check and balance for me to have in place so that I'm not doing too much. I will schedule things from starting from 9 or 9:30 in the morning up until about 3:30 or 4. And those are the hours that I'm available to work. And once I'm done, I'm done. I don't go back and check my emails. I'm not constantly doing stuff into the evening. Like I have just had to really put good structures and boundaries in place for myself so that I am aligning my life with the way that I want to feel in my day. And so that really has helped me in being able to not do too much. The thing that I'm struggling with, which I talked about in the beginning, is because I do feel so much more space in the days that I'm not working at the law firm, because it's a different kind of work, it's a different kind of energy. I allow myself time to go, on walks during the day, to work out during the day, sometimes to do, networking events during the day, things like that. I'm so used, my body is so used to being in like go, 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 go. I have to remind myself it's okay to not be doing things constantly the way that I used to be. Because the thing is, I am working all day. And when I'm going to the gym, I'm working on my health. That's something that's very important to me. Before, I would have said, oh, I have to work from 8 to 6 and then I'll go to the gym at night. That's what I would have done. And now I don't do that anymore. I have so much more time and I feel so much better in my life. But this mindset is so pervasive. It just keeps coming up. And it's like, Brianna, you could be doing X, Y, and Z. You could be doing this, right? Like I have a long list of things that I could be doing in my business. I have a long list of things I could be doing at the law firm if I wanted to. I have to have enough discipline and self-control to say, I'm not going to do that today. That's going to be there tomorrow. Or I'm not going to get to it this week. I'm going to have to do it next week. And when I have these feelings like I have to get this done, I have to keep having this conversation with myself over and over again of no, you don't. And it's hard. And I think this is something that I know a lot of people struggle with, is either not being able to put boundaries in place for themselves, or I think, well, if you're on the flip side of this and you have a hard time getting yourself to do things, that's kind of another topic. I'm on the side of things where I am constantly like in the doing. I have very masculine energy. I've always lived in masculine energy. I have to be very cautious about that and trying to balance with feminine energy and allowing myself to bring in the feminine energy. So I have a lot of masculine structures in place. I have a very strict calendar that I abide by. And then when I know that I have things scheduled in my calendar, then within that, I have the creativity to let the feminine energy flow. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't have a problem with doing too much, I have a problem with not getting enough done. I suspect, without knowing anything more, you have too much feminine energy and not enough masculine structures in place. So you need to have both. And a lot of people are afraid of masculine structures. I don't want to get too far off topic because that's its own thing in and of itself. But people who have a lot of feminine energy can be afraid of masculine structures, and the same is true vice versa. For me, I'm very driven by masculine energy, and I love structure, and I love calendars, and I love planning things. I have to be careful, though, I don't overplan. I have to be careful that I have boundaries for myself so I don't do too much. I have to be aware constantly of the mindset that's coming up of, Brianna, you could always be doing more, you could be doing this, and trying to make myself feel bad because I'm giving myself more space in life. It's constant, and I want to tell people that because I think it's so important to know that there are going to be some things in our life that continue to come up over and over and over again. And people get really frustrated by that. People have this belief that, you're supposed to be able to move through something and it's going to shift and it's no longer going to bother you. That's absolutely not true. If there's something like that in your life that you believe shouldn't be bothering you anymore, I can tell you that it's going to keep coming back up until you shift that mindset. But I just really wanted to talk about this because I know so many other people struggle with doing too much. And if you're trying to cut back doing too much, just continuing to have things in place that remind you of the kind of life you want to live. I mean, that's what I have to keep doing is when this mindset comes up of, Brianna, you're not doing enough. Brianna, you could be doing more. I have to remind myself of all the things that I am doing. I have to remind myself of all of the accomplishments that I have, focusing on the wins that I've had. I did a podcast episode recently about celebrating your wins. This is another area where that can be really helpful because when you get focused on, oh my gosh, I am doing all of these things, I don't need to keep telling myself that I could be doing more or I should be doing more. That's evidence for you to help shift that mindset. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what's going to finally get this little voice in my head to go away. It might not go away. And I've accepted that. And I just keep saying, look, no matter how many times this voice comes up that says, Brianna, you need to be doing more, I remind myself that I don't want to do more. I remind myself of how I felt when I was doing too much and when I was burnt out. I was exhausted. I had chronic fatigue. I was so stressed. I wasn't having fun in my life. I felt really like my life didn't have any meaning. And I am not willing to go back to that place again. And so I just have to keep saying over and over and over again and reframing it. Like, you don't need to keep doing more. You just need to keep practicing what you're practicing, putting structures in place so that you are getting things done while not doing too much. And just it's practice. Keep going over and over again. If you have something in your life that's continuing to come up, don't make yourself wrong about it. I don't like it when people are like, oh, I must be doing something wrong because it's not shifting. It might just be that you have to just keep going at it and keep doing it and keep practicing over and over and over again until something shifts. There are some things that are just going to keep coming up. And I've experienced this myself. I used to have a belief that I should be able to work through something and then it would just go away, and it would make me frustrated when that didn't happen. I now know that the more frustrated you get with things, the more it continues to come up until you just, I don't know, for me, I have acceptance around it, that this is a mindset that has plagued me for so long. I lived my life that way for 40 years. So maybe it takes me, it's just going to maybe take me longer to really shift it before I start to have more space between those days where I'm like not telling myself I have to keep doing more. And if you are a person that, if you are listening to this and you're like, oh, I have the opposite problem, I'm not doing enough or I can't get anything done, I would tell you, you need more structure in your life and you need to schedule things more, which a lot of people have an aversion to that. They don't want to be scheduled. They don't want to live by a calendar, but I can tell you it will change your life. I think everybody, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, no matter what kind of energy you're in, whether you are more on the feminine side or more on the masculine side, you need to have structures in place so that your creativity and your skills and your purpose can be fulfilled within the structure. So masculine structures keep feminine energy flowing. They work together. And when you are not getting enough done, it's usually because you don't have enough structure in place, which means from my perspective, you need to get more specific on calendaring things and deciding for yourself when you're going to do things and how long you're going to give yourself to do them, so that you can stay on a calendar and you're not just letting yourself freely do every task as long as it takes. That's not a good place to be in. So, if you have if you have the opposite problem of what I'm talking about, I definitely recommend finding ways to bring more structure into your life. Calendaring can do that. I can help you do that. There's, a little bit more to it than that, but getting some structure in your life will allow you to get more done. If you are a person who's overstructured or who's like overdoing constantly, like I am, for me, I calendar everything so that I keep myself within the bounds of the things that I have set for myself. And I just have to be super strict on my boundaries. Like when it comes to be like, 4:30 or 5, I'm done. I'm not going to keep working unless I feel like I need to, but I'm not going to do it just because I think I need to. I'm going to do it like if I'm in a project and it feels really good and I'm like, oh, I'm really flowing in this, I want to get it done. But my energy peaks between 10 and 2, which if you follow Ayurvedic practices, you would know that between 10 and 2 in the middle of the day is Pitta time. For me, that has always been the time I have always been most productive. And so I try to schedule things no matter what I'm doing to get work done between those hours, because I know that's when my energy is like at its peak and I want to get things done. And I feel like I'm able to get a lot done during that time. When it gets closer to the end of the day, I don't force myself to keep working past like 4:30 or 5. And on days where I'm not at the law firm, I really try to be done at 4. I just won't let myself get back into the patterns of doing. It's more important to give yourself space from the work that you do so that you can have fun, you can rest, you can move your body, you can get presence in your life, bring joy into your life. Go do something fun. If you have this feeling like you need to be doing more, what I would tell you is don't do more. Go do something fun for an hour or 2. Like if you're like, I have to keep doing, one of the best things you can do is just be like, no, I'm going to go do something fun. Go do anything, whatever you love to do. Go do something that you used to do when you were a child. Go sit on a swing and swing on a swing set. Go do an art activity. Go to a candle making class. I'm just throwing out a bunch of random things. Do something that you find to be fun. Not drinking, by the way. That's another topic, but that's not like something fun. Something that brings you into the present where you're not thinking about all of the things that you need to be done. When people have this belief that they need to be doing more, actually what they usually need to be doing is doing less and just being more, right? Being more you, being more your authentic self, being more present. So, I could talk about this for hours, honestly, but those are just a couple things I want to throw out there for people if you're experiencing this. I'm just going to keep at it every day. Every day when I hear this voice telling me I need to do more, I remind myself of why I changed my lifestyle. I remind myself why I keep the schedule that I do. I remind myself that my health is important. I remind myself that feeling better in my body is more important than money. And it absolutely is. That being mentally and physically fit is more important than me continuing to do things that are going to bring me monetary wealth. My belief is that when you feel good and you do good, the money flows. And when money is the focus, it's usually not the right thing to focus on. So I'll end that there. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Hey, before you go, would you love to receive my 3-step masterclass to easily create and hold wealth for free? It's called Effortless Money, and it includes the exact framework to start attracting money effortlessly and manifesting abundance with more ease. If you want it for free, all you have to do is leave an honest review of the Wealth Embodied podcast, take a screenshot of this episode and put it in your Instagram stories and tag me at Brianna_Faringer, and we will send you the free Effortless Money Masterclass. This is how my clients have manifested a $13,000 check, a promotion resulting in a $30,000 salary increase, and significantly improved relationships. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next time on the Wealth Embodied podcast.